Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Monday, the 22nd of September, 2014, and this is episode 96, Picture Day. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. Today is Gabriel's picture day for kindergarten. I'm super excited. I don't even know what he wore today because I did not take him to the bus. So hopefully something that looks nice. I don't know, I'm really excited for the whole concept of picture day for him. For me, I really enjoyed looking at the progression of my siblings and myself via school pictures, so then I get to go shopping for a picture frame for him, and it will be amazing. Kindergarten is so fun. All these new things. Finish it or frog it, or finish or frog, whatever. I don't remember what it's called in the thread. That craft along is going on. It started September 1st and it ends October 31st. Anything that you finish or frog in that time frame counts. All the rules are in the thread. You guys, you are rocking my socks. I'm not wearing socks today, but if I were, they would be rocked. And I can tell my sock drawer is rocking it out right now. You guys are amazing. The participation is fantastic, and you've almost filled 2 full pages full of stuff. That's awesome. Keep up the good work. And prize number 2 will be unlocked once you get off of the second page. Yay! And I'm considering putting up a 3rd prize if we get over 100 entries. Just saying. The tag for that is BPHFOF14. Yeah. Pretty much anything counts for that. Any Ravelry sanctioned craft. But again, rules are in the thread. Finished object! I have one! And it is a big one. I finished the Gimli socks by Claire Ellen, and it was very humid yesterday. So I blocked these, or I washed them, and they're blocking, but they're still very, very wet. So here is cable on the side. I made about 11 modifications. I worked the pattern from toe up and did not flip the charts, just worked them as they were written for cuff down. So I worked toe up. I used a fish lips kiss heel instead of the heel that was in the pattern, which I think is a flap and gusset. I changed the pattern on the back because I misread the pattern originally. Mostly I just wanted the cable on the front, which is gorgeous, and I will take the sock off the blocker so I can show it to you. So I wasn't paying attention to the other information. So the cable is correct, but there's supposed to be some stuff over here that isn't in there that I added to the back and kind of just made it up a little as I went on how the back was supposed to look, but I think it looks fine. Actually, I think it looks fantastic. Look how big this sock is. This is my wrist. These socks are huge. Yay, big feet, right? Oh, did I forget to weave in an end? No, I just need to trim the ends. I took these to knitting yesterday so that I would weave in the ends, and I did, but I didn't bring scissors, so I couldn't trim the ends. So I need to remember to do that. Hopefully I remember. So that's the cable pattern, which is amazing. The yarn is really, really pretty. I did not think it was this pretty in the skein or in the cake, but then it did this spiral pooling thing, and the colors were just lovely. So the main color in the socks, the body of the socks, is Wisdom Yarns Endurance Sock in Redwood colorway. And I don't have any tags for any yarn today. So if you want to see tags, last week. And the heel and toes our heels and toes are Knit Picks Essentials Solid in Grass, but that's discontinued. I worked them on US size 1, 2.25 millimeter needles, and I'm entering those into the Fox and Socks heel and toes knit along, because the rules for that are that the toes and heels have to be knit out of different yarn than the body of the sock. I am also, well, I'm working on another pair of ginormous socks, which are also a pattern by Claire Ellen. They are the Gimli socks. So both of these patterns are out of the Fellowship of the Sock ebook, which is full of really, really pretty sock patterns. Highly recommend purchasing it if you like cable-y things. The patterns are based on men, so there isn't a lot of lace. But if you go check out her Ravelry store, she has some really, really nice patterns. Lacy patterns. She has an ebook based on the women of Middle Earth. These socks are the Boromir socks by Claire Ellen, and it's in Nooch fiber, the 100% superwash merino base. I can't remember if it's Midtown or Morningside. Sorry, I think it's Midtown. Pretty sure Morningside has nylon. The colorway is Hobbits's. How appropriate, right? Okay, so Boromir isn't a hobbit, but whatever. And this is the pattern. Oh yeah, you can see that really well. So it's got this cable up the center and then this textured bit on either side. I changed the pattern again. I'm doing heels and toes, contrasting color in the Knit Picks Essentials Grass again. I started working the pattern. I cast on, and then I looked at the pattern and saw that it had a pattern toe. And I was like, oh, I can do a pattern toe. That's no problem. So I started doing the pattern toe, and I got through the increases and realized that this patterned part went up into the actual sock. And I was like, that would look kind of weird if I just stopped the color right now and started with the main sock color right here, right? That would look weird. I think that would look weird. So I decided to be crazy and do the toe with intarsia in the round. Because I'm a crazy. I ended up flipping all of these charts because they're written for cuff down. So I flipped them all so I could work them toe up and it would look like the cuff down pattern. Because I wanted to keep this toe. I mean, I think this would look fine either way. See, looks fine either way, but then the toe would be different. I really, really like that toe. So intarsia in the round, yay, Stitch Surfer Socks for teaching me how to do that. So I can just use it all over the place now. So the pattern is not written to have the contrasting toe. You'll need to know how to do intarsia in the round if you want this effect. I'm going to have a yarn crush right now. Anyone who's been watching for a while knows that I have some favorite dyers, and Nooch is one of them. My brother wound a bunch of yarn when he impromptu visited with my sister. They were here for less than 24 hours, and I think they were here for like 14 hours, maybe not even that many. I don't know. He wound all of the yarn for my sister's sweater and yarn for a cowl that I will be making her in the future, and maybe another skein of yarn. And then I was winding all of the yarn, and I don't remember how it came up, but I was like, yeah, I'll totally make you a pair of socks for Christmas. So I let him pick. I was like, okay, so these skeins are not available. I pointed out the ones that weren't available, but you can have anything else. And he picked out this one, and I was like, okay, that's fine. He liked it because it's kind of camo colors. And it was pretty in the hank, and it's, you know, it's pretty in the skein, but you cannot even look at how pretty those colors are. I would not have given him this had I realized how pretty this was going to be. Just the Nooch fiber, like Nick and Mariana are colored geniuses. They only do one-offs. You can custom order to get a larger quantity of yarn if you wanted to do a bigger project, but their skeins are one-offs, so they're non-repeatable, and they're amazing. And I will be making these socks not super tall. Well, actually, I will be making them tall, but I'm going to do that by using a contrasting cuff as well, so that I can have a lot of this left over for sock yarn blanket goodness. Because I love this color. Didn't know I was going to love it so much until I started knitting it. See how they're so different? I don't know if you can tell that they're so different, but they are completely different. And if you haven't tried Nooch fiber and you like variegateds, they also do pretty tonals. So tonals and variegateds, look at how pretty that is. And there's not pooling or anything, it's just love, love. I'm a little sad. I'm almost out. I have this skein and then a sport weight skein and a fingering weight skein left. I need to get some more of that in the near to mid future. I say need like I don't have these shelves full of yarn. Oh, by the way, I reorganized. So the top shelf, the top shelf is all of the stuff that has definite plans, like patterns picked out type plans. And then this shelf is, I can't, whatever, you know, the second shelf. That is the yarn that was acquired pre-2014 that doesn't have definite plans, ideas, but nothing definite. And then the bottom shelf did not get organized. It's stuff that has been acquired this year. Not everything that's been acquired this year, because my ZK acquisitions are still next to my desk right here. I don't want to put them away because then it means that the ZK is over. And I'm just not emotionally prepared for that. I'm ready for it to be June again. I miss my friends, miss the vacation. Anyway, more knitting, less chatter. I finished the first of the Waklala Falls socks, so this is where I was last week. And oh, yeah, last week I had cast on. I had the cast on row on those. And I was right here on these. So I feel like I did a lot of knitting this week. A lot of knitting. I was here. It's worked from the cuff down. So I did this portion. This pattern is so fun. It's Waklala Falls, which I said, but I don't think I said who it was by. Michelle Dotson. This yarn is Knit Picks Stroll Multi in Sorbet, which is probably discontinued. I haven't checked, but probably. This pattern is written, I would guess, for a size 6-ish foot, because I followed it exactly to instruction. I didn't want to change it up and try to add more repeats of this. Just followed it exactly. So this portion is kind of long, but I don't hate that. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I'm willing to deal with this long toe section. They just look so cool. They're supposed to mimic waterfall stuff, but to me it looks like armor. It's so fun doing patterns like these in highly variegated yarn because every part looks so different. So the toe versus the top versus the heel flap. The pattern is brilliantly written. It only comes in one size, but I think that if you are comfortable playing with numbers a little bit, you could easily make it smaller or larger. And like I said, it's written for about a size 6. It fits fine width-wise, but it wasn't long enough for my big old feet. Oh, and this one does have a tag. See, stroll fingering. I started kind of the second one. I had the cuffs for both socks started back in February or something. And then I put them on spare DPNs forever. And I haven't quite made it through the first round of sections. So I'm on section 3 of 4. Some stitches are still on that DPN being held, and the rest have been worked onto my size 9 circular, which I really, really like for this pattern. And I really like for any pattern that has you doing anything modular. I like them for stitch surfers, which had intarsia in the round. Anything where you're stopping before you would hit the end of a double point or the end of magic looping. I really like the 9-inch circular for that. My last work in progress is spinning. This is the merino tussa silk from Hobbledehoy that will be approximately a fingering weight 2-ply. This is the first half, so this is about 2 ounces, and I have only this much left to go. I was going to do it before I started podcasting, but then I was like, oh, but then there's upload time, and Mara is being so good and distracted, and that's really the big thing. Mara's being so good and distracted elsewhere. So I'll finish the first half today and then let it rest and start the second half maybe tonight after work if I can't sleep, or tomorrow. So that might not be finished by the end of the month, but it'll be so close. And it's super pretty. The prep is amazing. The colors are gorgeous. Love this fiber so, so, so much. So definitely check out Hobbledehoy if you haven't. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant. Worked on my sack yarn blanket this week. I put in 8 squares, which is pretty decent, and they are all yarns from Diane. So here's this one. Just over by itself, starting a new section, which I will be building off of this week. And here, oh, look at how pretty those yarns are. The only one that I know what it is, yes, is this one right here. This is a mini from No Makers, and then the rest are just really, really pretty yarns. Oh, and you know what this is? Do you know? This is the 4th corner. So all I have left to go is this section in between here. So not that much. I'm up to 722 squares. So just over 60 or 50. It's 776 that I'm going to, right? So only 54 squares to go. Oh, only 54 squares to go. I didn't realize. Oh, I don't think that I've shown this part before. I started the edging. I may have said this before, but I don't remember saying it. So this is what I have. I've been trying to do a square, like 2 sides a day. If I do it, awesome. If I don't, it doesn't take that long, so it won't be horrible to do the edging at the end. So that's as far as I have. And I'm using some, it's microfiber yarn. It's like kind of a sport weight heavy fingering. It's this long color, it's a stripy yarn, but the stripes are not solid. You can see really well right here. I have yarn barf going on, but I think you can see. I can see. It's got flecks of the darker color on the lighter color. The darker color doesn't really have flecks on it, but the two lighter colors have darker flecks on them. My side yarn blanket is getting so close to done. I didn't realize it was so close. You know what that means? That means I'll be able to pick up my hexapuffs before the end of the year. Yay! I have new things too. So new this week is this super bright Red Heart Super Saver. I made my sister the sweater using 716 knit, the custom worsted that she dyed in You Have Butt Face, and my mom loved it. And she said that she wanted a sweater. So I'm going to make her a sweater for Christmas. And she wanted a Manda sweater. I told her that I would make her a Manda sweater, but I would not foot the cost for the yarn. I love my mom, but that's a $200 sweater. That's a little outside of my budget right now. And she's like, oh no, I don't want that exact sweater. And I was like, well, there's some yarn that's a lot less expensive, that's similar in color. So obviously not an exact match, but more in my mom's, well, more in my price range for a sweater for my mom. I do like this color way better, and it's wool, so it was much nicer to work with than this will be, because this is acrylic. But I love my mom. I don't love my mom $200 worth of yarn. I do, but I don't have $200 worth of yarn. So I'll be making her sweater out of this lovely Red Heart Super Saver. I only have 3 skeins right now because that's all that was on the shelf when I went to Joann's. I don't think it's enough to make the sweater, but I will pick up another skein when I need it. This colorway is called Black Light, and it is super bright, eye searing, which is exactly what my mom wanted. She wanted something eye searing because Amanda had an eye searing sweater, so of course she needed an eye searing sweater. I finished reading Altered by Jennifer Elvin. It got pretty good toward the end of the book. I would say the last 100 pages it really picked up. Before that, it was a little bit of a slog. It just, I don't know. The Cruel World books aren't very fast-paced. I wish they were. They're not bad. They're just a little slow for me. But the last 100 pages picked up. I will definitely try to get the 3rd book. I don't know if it's a trilogy or a series of more books than that, but I'm positive that there is at least a 3rd book, and I'll pick it up, not right away. I'm not obsessed with it. What I am obsessed with is a book that I left in the vehicle because I finished it at work last night, and it's a library book, so I'll be taking it back to the library, and it just made sense to leave it in the car. It is called Anna Dressed in Blood by Kendare Blake. So good. Amazingly good. It is young adult and horror. It follows Cass, who is 17 or so, I don't know, high school student. He's a ghost hunter, and he kills ghosts. Not every ghost ever. Plenty of ghosts are harmless, and he doesn't do anything about them. But he comes from a line of ghost hunters. His father was one. And he's following in his father's footsteps, and they kill ghosts who kill people for whatever reason. Usually it is the ghost tries to make people relive their death. Anna is something like that, something similar. She's a ghost and she kills people, but not. She's unlike any ghost that Cass has ever come up against. So good. It took me 3 days to read, not because I needed it to take 3 days, but because I kept putting it down because I was like, if I read it too fast, it'll be over. And also it was one of those books that was so intense that I needed to take breaks for my brain to catch up with what was going on. Because something would happen and my brain would fracture into 10 different things, trying to think ahead of what could happen and trying to piece together, trying to fit in the little clues that had been dropped earlier in the story. So I would be like, okay, brain's going in too many directions, set the book down, come back in, an hour, read some more. It was so, so good. Definitely scary. Not nightmare inducing though, so that's good. But scary. So good. It is so good. I got it from the library and I put it on hold because they didn't have it at my branch of the library. So I put it on hold, but it turns out that I accidentally put the second book in the series on hold. So then I put the first book in the series on hold and it came in a couple days later. I picked them both up at the same time. Normally, I don't read books back to back, but since I already have the second one anyway, and the first one was so, so good, I will be reading the second one very soon. I didn't start it right away though. I actually started Outlander by Diana Gabaldon, which everybody is reading or has read, because Josh said that I needed to read it. And I have Outlander on my bookshelf actually. I have massive bookshelves we call it the library. They're built in to the walls, and I've had the Outlander book since 2004, 2003. Had it a very long time. The first and second book in the series. They've been sitting on my shelf. I got them from my high school boyfriend's mom. She said that they were excellent and they were her favorite romancy type book. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I read romance occasionally. And they've just been sitting on my shelf and they have moved with me through many moves. They've made the cut of what to keep. So since everybody's reading it and I already had the book, I picked it up. I'm about 20 pages in. Not enough to have an opinion on the story. Enough to know that the writing style is not my favorite, but it's not bad. So maybe I'll be talking about that next week, or maybe I will start the second book by Kendare Blake. I don't know. Probably a little bit of both. I have a podcast suggestion for you this week. Entirely Crafty with Lindsay. There are 3 episodes. Less than 5. There are less than 5 episodes, and they are not super, super long. Lindsay does a lot of crafting. She spins, she knits, she sews. She actually has a shop called Sewn by Lindsay on Etsy. If you watch Sort of a Knitter, you will have seen her stuff because she donated a prize bag. It's the bag that has the little label window on the front with the note cards in them that has all sorts of information on your project. I think it has the pattern name, needles, yarn used, all those things that you can write into that note so that you don't actually have to look in the bag. You can just look at the front of the bag and know what project is inside. highly enjoyable. Yeah, just highly enjoyable. I'm not very good this week. I'm sorry for this episode. Just feel very all over the place. And also the need to say and frequently, I suppose. I hope you made something fantastic with your sticks and string. I have been working on the Boromir socks a little bit. And I will see you next week. Bye.